So I'll say my F it moment, only because my nephews and nieces might want to watch this one day. They'll be like, see, you were swearing, I could swear too. No, but my F it moment happens every day in this business. Every day. It's not an easy business, man. I mean, you know, especially as an actor, you know, you have to go in and you have to audition a billion times to get a job, you know. And as you begin to understand the business side of things, you understand why it's so difficult. And, you know, there are numerous people, especially if you're doing a prime time, trying to do a primetime show. You know, you have the network, you have the studio, you have the casting directors, you have the directors. And there's a lot that goes into the casting process, you know. And sometimes that process kind of waters down the creative side of things, as we all know. You know, when you're dealing with investors, when you're dealing, you know, realistically as artists, we would love to have as much control as possible, but we don't. And when we don't, that's when I'm like, F it. You know, let's do our own stuff in the process and not just sit here and wait for somebody to come and give you, you know, this supposed role or supposed project. It's hard to make a living as an actor just because there's just so much that goes on. And sometimes even in that process, you still don't get the roles that you want to do. You know, you're bound to what's being offered at the time. And I remember, I think, watching a video of an interview. I'm not sure if it was Sean Penn or somebody else, but they were talking about the idea that, you know, it's almost 1 in a million to get a role that's going to really genuinely allow you to expose as much of yourself as an actor and really stretch yourself. For that to happen consistently is even harder. The way those things can happen are to take control. You know, to create your own content, to develop your own projects, to and then on top of it, you have to understand that, you know, being a person of color, you also don't have as many opportunities as it is. So to try to get to that perfect role, you know, how many stories are told about people like, you know, Cesar Chavez? You know, it's been told. Michael Peña played him, right? But how many heroes do we have? How many, you know, opportunities, you know, of those grander roles are there out there? And so to get to that place, it's our responsibility to, you know, do as much as we can to try to make that happen. So the effort moment, you know, happens on a daily. It's just like, you know, what can I do instead of complaining to better the opportunities of, you know, doing both the acting side of it and then the creative storytelling part of it, you know. Because it was like that with music, you know. When you write a song, you're essentially telling a story, and when you're writing poetry, you're essentially telling a story, and that was my background. It was always about storytelling. And as an actor, you are part of the story, but as a producer or writer, you can be part of creating the world of stories that you want to see on television or film or new media. Yeah, so what I'm doing to try to, you know, create this type of change is literally working with the production company that I mentioned earlier, which is Wama Films, and in trying to develop projects. And also, you know, because it gives you, you know, as an actor, it's kind of selfish in a way. Not in a bad way, but you get hired, you go, you do your job, and it's great. But if you can create projects that are gonna allow you to hire some of your colleagues, you know, that you think are great actors, or great writers, great directors, great DPs, you know, you're creating jobs for a lot more people than just yourself, you know? And I think that's where, you know, the giving part of it is a little bit more fulfilling at times, you know? I get excited when I get a job, and it's fun to do all of that, but I realize that there's so much more excitement when I see a group of us win, because acting at times is it's a lonely process, a very, very lonely process, you know? And so I'd rather be creating something that, you know, a bunch of friends and colleagues that I respect, we're all winning. We're all, you know, getting something out of it. We're all pushing the culture forward. And so, so yeah, I think living in that space and trying to create as much as I can is, I think, for me, just the next step in my career and what I plan to do.